My love affair with food has always been something that it goes back to my beginning. It goes back to my story from the very start. And, growing up with my uncle and my aunt, I was the master in the kitchen. And a lot of people, including my uncle at the time, thought that this was something that I was passionate about, I had a talent for, and that I should really drive towards. I actually wanted to be a lawyer, look at me, right? But he recognized that I had a talent in cooking, and he encouraged me to nurture that and to maximize it in whatever way I could. And becoming a chef would be something that, at the time, thinking about it, hearing it, was not necessarily the thing I wanted to do, but my talents obviously spoke differently and had a different direction for my life. And thankfully, getting the opportunity to work for the Ritz-Carlton really changed my life. I would say it's probably the number one reason why I'm standing here today, and or sitting, I should say, rather. But I love food, and I have a passion for traveling, and I compared the two, or married the two, and it allowed me to blossom and to travel the world and to experience food and culture in a way that I never thought I would. Traveling and living in the Middle East, in the Bahamas, in California, New York, or right here in Charlotte, where I now call home. And all of that experience and knowledge and traveling and interacting with food, I wholeheartedly believe it's what is infused in my food. And it comes out in the ingredients that I use, it comes out with the techniques. And the number one thing for me is to delight people with my cooking, and I'm always on the hunt for different and unique ways to bring flavors to life and allow people to experience food in a way that they've never experienced it before. So the moment I knew I was good at cooking, that's a good question, but I would say there are two important moments. One, when I knew I was good at what I was doing, and one when I knew I was good at the food that I put out. And when I say what I'm doing, because being a chef involves a lot of things more than just putting the food on the plate, obviously. There is the creative process, there's the execution, because a lot of times, you take on a task and you're not able to execute it. But the time I knew I was really good at food had to have been when I first did my job interview to move to the US at the Ritz-Carlton Bachelor Gulch in Colorado. And after my tasting, I had a meeting with the GM, and he kind of broke me down. He was critical of my food, and in the end, he said, I don't think you're the right person for this job. I don't think you're the right person to take our food to the next level. And you may be wondering, how is this possible, right? But then later they came back and they're like, you were the best chef out of all the others who came here to cook. And when I looked at the names of the folks who cooked prior to me, I knew I was good, because some of them were like at the top of the game, or there were people with a vastly more culinary experience and knowledge. And the food that I put out was from my heart. It was not overly technical, it was just straightforward, and it spoke to people, and it was the story behind the courses that I presented. And that's when I knew, dang, I'm really good at this, because if a little boy from Jamaica can come mash it up in Colorado, then I must be doing something right. So that's when I knew I was probably really good at food. And by then I would say I probably had a good 10 years of experience under my belt, but it was that aha moment for me, that pinch me moment, I would say. When I knew I was good at what I'm doing as a chef is probably when I started Kennardo's Kitchen. Because you leave the hotel or you leave your previous job and you're in an environment where everything is set up and people are there to assist you and resources are endless. But starting on my own and figuring out everything, Even last night, I had a moment where I was like, this is really hard, because learning and executing and putting things together from scratch is very different than walking into a room or into an environment where everything's already there for you. So I was inspired to go into meal prep and largely Kennardo's kitchen because I was looking for a way to change how I ate and how I prepared food for myself. Because chefs are some of the most unhealthy eating people ever. Don't let them fool you, despite what they will put on the plate. And I needed to take control of my weight, and I was looking for ways to be creative in just preparing food. And I had a couple folks who were interested in after they saw what I was eating, and I started doing it for them. And I was working up with another trainer at the time, and he encouraged some of the folks working out with him to get me to do their meal prep. And 2020, obviously, for like a lot of people, really pushed me to make this a full-fledged thing where, after 22 years of working for one of the best companies that I could ever have asked to work for, I decided to start Kennardo's Kitchen. And I had the option of going into private chef full-time or various things, a food truck. I discussed at one time with somebody else. But ultimately, I decided there is a lane, there's a market, there's a need more than anything else for gourmet meal prep, food that is healthy, that is delicious, and with a little bit of fusion. And with my own unique style, I figured this has to be something that I can tap into. And fortunately, it's been a success, and my inspiration to create new and innovative dishes that are still in line with people's goals it remains at the forefront of my mind, because I do believe that you can eat food that's healthy and nutritious, that's also not bland and boiled chicken, essentially. And I think that when you get down to the nitty-gritty, what it comes down to is a love for food, understanding ingredients, and finding ways to put them together that enlivens the palate, that brings forth a taste that is different than anything else that you've had. And when Kennardo prepares food, I like to do it in a way where it captures the imagination of people, and it speaks to you in a different way. You get to know and understand who I am through my flavors. And I think Symphony of Flavors is just another level of or an extension of that, but it's your way of really seeing from my lens out.